And these hair head wraps just don't work for me. Oh, why is it so hot? And you know, it's only 62 degrees Fahrenheit in here. I don't know. Hello, welcome to Laura's World. I'm Laura, and I am, I guess, going to have a little chit chat and open up about why I've been sick. Have you ever noticed how there are no social media presences, people, or influencers that just, you know, spray? They all go. That mist felt so nice. Oh God, you can even see in my skin. You could see how rosy I am. I usually have a very delightful pinkish tinge, but this is out of control. I have not been in the sun. I have not gone outside. Yesterday, well, today is, well, it's 3:45 in the morning, which means that today is Monday, August 15th. But on Saturday, August 13th, we spent the afternoon at my in-laws' house, and they have a beautiful backyard oasis with a beautiful giant saltwater pool and waterfall, and it just, I'm so very lucky to call them my in-laws and be able to go over there. And Maisie, my baby girl, my dog, loves going and chasing squirrels and running around the pool. She is deathly afraid of the water. She's part water breed, but she won't go in the water. Anyway, I spend a majority of our afternoon visitation upstairs on a couch in an air-conditioned room sleeping because something is wrong with me. I mean, outside of the usual. I like this little tank top I got. I got this at Torrid. I had a bunch of Torrid cash, so I got all these clothes for like nothing. And this, it has like, it's like tiki time. I love tiki time. But it's got like martinis and pineapples, which I'm allergic to, and little coconut glasses and wine spritzers and some skulls. Like some skulls. And it's a pocket tank, which I can't put anything in because then it'll pull it all the way down, and that's a no-no. My blood sugar is a touch high. As I've probably said a million times, I am a type 1 diabetic, and I'm not feeling great, and when I don't feel great, my blood sugar doesn't do well. Then again, I could be feeling really good, and my blood sugar is not going to do well either, so... But what affects blood sugar? Let me count the ways. Yes. Everything affects the blood sugar. I haven't eaten in like 4 hours, which is like a lot for me. So being that it's that high, I'm gonna have to whip the pump out and figure something out. Hold on. Well, it turns out I've got to do the whole shebang now. Gotta refill my insulin, gotta put in a new site, and gotta do a new sensor. Why? Side note, I am very, very grateful for scientific research and advances that allow me to have almost a closed loop system that will help me control my blood sugar and tell me when it's going out of whack. I am very grateful for the science, but it doesn't make it any less of a pain in the ass. Here's my little tableside kit that I keep almost all of my pump supplies and site change supplies in. I thought the bag was really funny because honestly I wouldn't recommend it to my worst enemy. Pro tip, if you can avoid being an overweight type 1 diabetic, do that. And today's sticker is by Griff Grips. Not paid promotion, not sponsored unless they want to. Anyway, I always put a sticker over both my infusion sites and my continuous glucose monitor because my skin does not like adhesives. So the normal adhesives that come with my supplies will rip right off in a day. These are super strong, which means on the alternative it is harder to get off, and I do wind up ripping some skin off with it. Sorry if that's TMI, but Oh well. So this colorful little sticker, there we are, will go over my infusion site. I just went in on another Mario Badescu spritz because I am just so hot. Oh my god. With my little Pusheen fan that's not meant to do what it's doing, but I don't care. It works. It does the job. And for those that are... those of you that are interested, I know I could edit that, but I choose not to. For those of you that are interested to know what I just sprayed on my face, the first one I used is the Mario Badescu facial spray with aloe, herbs, and rose water, and it's like super rosy. And then the one that I just used is the facial spray with aloe, cucumber, and green tea. Cucumber with me, same thing as rose water, is hit or miss, but these two are mild enough, and they just had a level of hydration and softness and helped to cool me down because I am just, I am reaching boiling point in here. I have a mini fridge in this room. I'm up on the second floor in the spare room that I don't know, we started calling it the office, and now everybody is just calling it my room because I've taken it over and it's overloaded with all my crap. But there's a mini fridge up here, and I am this close to opening the door and putting a fan in front of it. I'm starting to wonder if this is a hot flash. Like, legit. What is going on here? But I can see, while I'm looking at the screen, I can see that the pink is starting to come down. I am starting to cool off just a little bit, which is good news because it was getting ridiculous. I'm just going to put on a little of my Dior Lip Glow Color Reviver Balm. I need a little moisturization onto my lips. It's coral, but it doesn't really come across as anything. And it's funny, while I watch other makeup artists or influencers or skin influencers or whatever you want to call it put lip products on, I watch them as they paint their top lips, and I'm just like, I have such a small top lip. If I tried to paint with a brush or a doe foot, I would get it like all over my skin. Alright, so I guess the main event here of this 3-ring circus is just a little chit-chat on what's been going on with me and why I'm not feeling well. As some of you may know, if you've watched my previous videos, I suddenly, just like everybody suddenly, contracted COVID from my loving and adoring husband. I don't fault him, I don't blame him. His job is actually, it's a pretty important job. He does work for a nonprofit. But what he does, he's the face of it. He's constantly on TV, he's constantly on the news. I'm not going to drop his information just yet. But he is out and about with the public because he has to be. And once the rules started changing here in my home state, he was out and about again. And on one of the tours he gave, I'm guessing one or several of the guests had it. Unfortunately, it was only a matter of time before he was going to get it just because of the nature of his job. And he had the first 2 shots. I had the first 2 shots and the first booster. I did not get the second booster yet, but I'm going to now that I am free and clear of, I don't know, I think the antibodies stay with you, don't they? I don't know. I should really know more about this. Jeez. Anyway, I started really not feeling well Wednesday or Thursday last week. And I was blowing my nose a lot and had a little cough, but it wasn't like a big deal. My mom was like, "Why are you blowing your nose?" My mom is hypercritical. I don't know any other way to put it. I love her dearly. She's my mom. She's the only mom I have. We butt heads a lot. We're kind of like oil and vinegar, honestly. It's been that way my entire life. I still love her, but she is hypercritical of every little thing. And I'm sitting in her room because she lives with us because she is terminally ill, unfortunately. And she can't live alone, so she lives with my husband and I. And I'm in her room talking to her, and I'm just blowing my nose, and she's all like, you're sick again. You got that long COVID, you better call the doctor. You know, I'm like, Ma. But I noticed that I was getting kind of dizzy and disoriented, and then I fell down the stairs. And someone of my size, although all you see is from here up, you can tell that I'm a big girl, so falling down the stairs isn't exactly a walk in the park for someone like me, especially with arthritis in my back. So that was a doozy. I almost fell again, but I caught myself, and I was saying, I'm like, listen, I'm progressively getting worse. I'm having trouble concentrating. My body temperature won't regulate. I'm going hot, cold within minutes. I'm talking like sweating to actual like seizing, shaking cold. And my vision was getting a little weird too. So my mom was like, you need to go to the hospital. I mean, every little thing that goes wrong with me, I got to go to the hospital because I am chronically ill. One of these days I'll put the laundry list out there, I'm sure, but and only reasons to raise awareness. But I do have a lot of health issues, and she's always just go to the hospital. And the fact of the matter is, I have a pretty high propensity of being admitted through the emergency room. It's just the way it is. But so I'm sitting in her room, and I'm just not having a good time, and I call my husband, and he is where my mother is one extreme of go to the hospital. My husband is, take some Tylenol and sleep it off. But he knows what's wrong with me, and whenever he does that, it kind of irritates me. I wonder if part of it is because he knows he's going to have to be the one to sit with me in the hospital, and I hate doing that to him because he's tired. He's working. I, through a series of events, had to stop working in October of 2020. I am technically considered disabled, but not because of diabetes. Other things going on that we are trying to work through right now and trying to get on disability through the state, which is, if you know, you know. I get to around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and I'm just like, this is not working out. I gotta go. We gotta go. Something's wrong here, and it's just bad. My mom's watching me, and she's like, no. So my husband came home a little bit early from work, and he brought me to the emergency room. And if you've ever been to the emergency room, if you say anything about chest pain, the first thing they're doing is whisking you in and doing an EKG. Well, the emergency room triage EKG is a 10-second picture. And what does 10 seconds tell you? Well, 10 seconds will tell you immediately if you're having duress or a heart attack in that moment. Mine came out fine, but I still had chest pain, so they take that seriously, even though it's my understanding that having chest pains isn't necessarily the first indicator of a heart attack. So, I mean, I'm not... Chest pains, it could be anything. It could be a pulled muscle. It could be anxiety. It could be, broken sternum. It could be really anything. But the fact that I was extremely dizzy, couldn't see straight, was having trouble concentrating, and I couldn't remember. I'm allergic to very specific things, and I could not remember what they were when they just rattle off like a list any other time. So I was like in the hallway. I guess that's the new way of doing things in my local hospital, is just you'd sit in the hallway as part of triage, and then they figure out what they're going to do with you. After 2 nurses came to talk to me, suddenly a doctor is out in the hallway. Doctors don't come out in the hallway, so that to me was like, what? He started talking to me, and he was trying to figure out what was going on, and as I start answering questions, he starts getting more and more like, what are you doing? Why aren't you taking care of yourself? I made some mistakes. As a type 1 diabetic, you have to eat regardless of if you were hungry or not. And for 3 solid days, and I mean a good solid 3 days, I did not eat anything. Partly because I'm just disgusted, partly because I wasn't hungry, and partly because I just wasn't feeling well. And the thought of eating anything was making me feel very unwell. So all of that mixed in together, this doctor is starting to lecture me in the hallway. I'm crying. I'm like, I have a very high tolerance for pain. Like, I have an insanely high tolerance for pain. I've had multiple surgeries where I declined pain medication because it's just, it was an inconvenience. It wasn't something that was painful to me. This was painful. And I'm crying my eyes out, and I'm trying to explain to this guy what's going on and why I haven't eaten. And he's starting it on me. He's like, you could be in DKA and you could have all these problems. DKA, otherwise known as diabetic ketoacidosis, is a phenomenon in diabetics, mostly in type 1s, very, very rarely in type 2, where ketones build up in your bloodstream. And the only way your body can try to flush them out and flush excess sugar out of your bloodstream is through your kidneys. And these levels sometimes get so high that the kidneys go into overdrive and fail and can't do anything. And then you become septic and your organs shut down and you die. Sorry to be blunt, but that's just what it is. The good news was I was not in DKA. My blood sugar was normal. I didn't have any ketones or anything like that. They ran a bunch of blood work. Oh, I should say they took me back to a room, ran a bunch of tests, ran a bunch of blood work, and then they did the heart enzyme because my blood pressure was really high, really high. We're talking like, I think the first number was 288 over 198. And if you know anything about blood pressure, you know that's pretty much stroke zone. Now, I have pain medicine at home. I'll just say it is a controlled substance, but I so rarely use it that when refills come up, I decline them. Some people are like, why don't you just take them so you have them if you need them? Well, the ones that I need are still here because I haven't taken them. But I can understand the process of thinking, like, have a surplus in case something goes wrong, knock on wood. Which something almost did for me when I had to go off of my employee-sponsored continuation coverage and then purchase my own health insurance, because in America we might parade around as a first world country, but when it comes to healthcare, we are definitely third world. So now here we are, 2 married people who are also 2 chronically ill people. My husband is also a type 1 diabetic. That's fun. Oh, and my mother's a type 1 diabetic too. That's even more fun. I'm lucky that I'm not considered brittle. My diabetes is pretty easy to control. My husband's is not. But so we have 2 chronically ill individuals with one income, which is, get this, $300 a year over what my state considers the poverty line. So I couldn't get help if I wanted to. Now, to explain all of the expensive things that I have, I was a little irresponsible. You know, I admit I spent a little money that I don't have, but my husband kind of swallowed heavy and said, you know what, I agree, self-care is important, I'm not going to stop you. Just make sure you use the stuff and don't go overboard. Well, I kind of went overboard, and he knows I went overboard, and we kind of had a little flip out about it, but we're good now. We're good now. Anyway, so I'm expected to pay $167 a month for private health insurance based on $0 income. Like, if you look at me personally, I made $0 last year, and I am projected to make $0 this year. That's what happens when you can't work. So, I mean, I legit asked the agent, if I'm not making money, how am I paying for this insurance? And she's like, well, you're married. And I'm like, you see how much my husband makes. Not that he's not making a comfortable wage for a single person. If he wasn't married, he'd be fine. If he wasn't supporting an entire household, he would be fine. But I would also like to throw in there that I never pay full price for anything. If something is full price, I watch it until it starts to go on sale. I watch the last numbers of the prices at Target just to see when things are going to come down. And I've used the term bargain basement shopping a couple of times. That is legitimately what I do. Some of this stuff might have been hot, meaning it fell off the back of a truck. Whatever. I doubt it because everything seems to be in good condition. I do know that some of the things that I get from Nordstrom Rack or TJ Maxx or Marshalls might be old, might be damaged. I check everything out before I use it though to make sure, and I have not gotten anything bad yet. Getting back to the story, because having me tell a linear tale is impossible because my brain just goes pew, 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 all over the place. So I'm in the hospital and I explain all the stuff, the dizziness, I got a massive headache at this point. I couldn't see right. My blood pressure is sky high. They're all like, oh damn. So they come in and they give me nitroglycerin under the tongue and an aspirin. And I'm like, isn't that for a heart attack patient? And they're like, well, normally yes, but it also helps to take down the hypertension that's going on in your body right now. You need something that's going to work immediately because this is dangerous. I said, okay. Fun fact, nitroglycerin under my tongue burned. I mean, neither here nor there, but there's just a fun fact. Now, being the stubborn jerk that I am, when the doctor initially saw me in the hallway, he offered me pain medication, and I declined it because that's what I do. Why take the help, you know? Stupid. I am so stubborn sometimes. When they put me on the gurney, I was finally like, all right, this is no good for my back. My arthritis is killing me. So I told the nurse, I'm going to take the doctor up on the pain medicine. Within like 5 minutes, legit, I was impressed because usually wait times for everything in hospitals in America is forever. But within, I gotta say, like 5-10 minutes, she was in my room with a lovely, large dose of Toradol. I felt good. I mean, I was still dizzy and I still couldn't see straight, but my back, my arthritis, and all of my bodily pain slowly melted away. And my cuff, the blood pressure cuff that they had on my arm was unreasonably tight. Unreasonably. Now, moments ago I mentioned that I can take pain. I have a high tolerance for pain. When I tell you that I was cringing at how tight this cuff went, and it's not necessary. It is not necessary to go that tight. It's just not. The first hour, the number came down. The second hour, the number came down again. And by the third hour, they felt the number was low enough to send me home with a referral to a cardiologist. And the doctor came in, looked me in the eye. Basically, he was looking at me right like this, and he was like, I am not sending you home with a clean bill of health. You are not well. Good news, silver lining, good news. My kidneys, my liver, and my good-for-nothing pancreas had nothing wrong with them. Just that my pancreas doesn't make insulin. But these 3 very important organs had nothing wrong with them, thank God. Alright, so I'm feeling a little bit better now that I put the air conditioning on for a little while. I know it went up a degree out, 63 degrees out. In here on the second floor, I don't know why it stays so warm in this room, but I'm going to use a little of my Kinship Bright Wave eye cream. Just going to put a little bit of that on because, you know, even though I don't feel so great, it's still important to keep up with skincare because good skin will help make you feel a little bit better, in my opinion. You know, if you keep up with your routines, you don't fall backwards, because then if you fall backwards, you start to feel crappy about yourself, and that just starts this whole cycle again. And yes, whenever I use an eye cream, I always put it on the top too. I don't know if that's right or wrong. Feel free to leave your opinions in the comments. I do it. You know, I feel that I should do it. I feel that it's appropriate because the top lid is just as sensitive as the bottom, you know, and the brow skin is also, in my opinion, as far as I know, just as sensitive as the stuff here. Alright, And I'm going to follow that up with Miss Flower and Mr. Honey by Vanilla Co. Again, I gotta get glasses. This is not just because I'm having trouble seeing because of whatever's wrong with me. This is also because I'm getting old and my eyes aren't working right. But it's a face cream. It's a sample. I use the samples. I do. And so I'll put a little bit of this on. All right, a little dab will do you. Rub it between the palms and just put it on. And it also has a nice little cooling effect. Not on purpose. It's just because the air is moving around the room a little bit. Now, I don't know if I have that skin condition. It's nothing serious. I mean, compared to what I'm going through right now, it doesn't even matter. But when I touch my skin, it turned pink. There are some people that doesn't happen to, and there are some people who actually have this skin phenomenon where when they touch or they lightly scratch, the skin just gets bright and pink and can bubble up. I'm not bubbling, but I can see in here it's a little bit pinkish. Okay. Now my face is in order. I mean, as minimally as possible. I just really don't... I can't get into my whole nighttime routine, and I know it's bad to skip my routine, but at least I did something. Fast forward to today, or I should say yesterday, the 14th. I'm still not feeling well. I know I got sent home from the hospital feeling a little bit better because they shot me up with pain meds. I mean, everybody feels better when you're on pain meds. And the nitroglycerin did help to bring down my blood pressure, but I woke up today, I took all my pills as normal, and I felt crappy. I felt pretty much the same as I did the day before. And I'm like, they told me if I felt the same or worse to come back. And I'm really not about that because I have $100 copay every time I even step foot into the emergency room. My mom is like, I'm calling 911. You're getting there. I was like, Ma, don't call 911. Don't do it because they're going to come pick me up. Then I'm going to have an ambulance bill. Okay? And then on top of having an ambulance bill, because nobody's going to be there with me because my husband was out with friends all day and someone else drove, I'm going to have to get a taxi home. Money, money, money. And she's like, money shouldn't matter when it comes to your health. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I really don't feel like going bankrupt over this. So I promised her that if I got worse, I would let her know and I would go to the hospital. I am not in a position to drive because of how dizzy I am and because of how bad my vision is. I also, as a result of some things that happened back in October of 2020, you will rarely find me behind the wheel of my car. I love my car. I used to love driving. I would drive everywhere. I would drive places for fun. I would just, I love my car. It's a 2014 Ford Focus. It's so fun to drive. Yeah, I know it's got that paddle shift, weird hybrid transmission recall issue. I'll get it taken care of. But anyway, I had a really good sound system, or have a really good sound system in that car. So I would just put the tunes up, I would just listen to anything that was going on, and I would drive, and it would be great. And it was very comfortable for me to drive. And now it's like I will not get behind the wheel unless it's absolutely necessary. I mean, dire circumstances. Could it be an irrational phobia? Sure. I just get very nervous and very anxious when I have to get behind the wheel, and it's something I try to avoid because I don't want something bad to happen. That's all. Shout out to my MVP husband for carting me around everywhere I need to go. And other than that, I just stay home with my dog and my mom. This is really not how I want to spend my days. But I'm not getting better with other situations. So as of right now, where we are is I'm still kind of getting hot and cold right now. I'm just maintaining hot for the longest time I've been hot so far with this, whatever's going on with me. I took my controlled pain medication. I think it's starting to kick in because I am actually starting to feel a little bit of relief. But I am very concerned about my blood pressure, and I am concerned that I might wind up back in the hospital, and I don't want that to happen. So the plan is, first thing in the morning, I don't know, what, 3-4 hours from now, I get on the horn with the cardiologist office and just take the first appointment available with anybody. I'm not being picky at this point. I can't be. I have to be seen, and we have to figure something out. Whether it means that they run more tests, whether it means that they throw me back in the hospital, or maybe I get a heart monitor, all of these things are a possibility, according to the emergency room doctor. So that's what's been going on with me, and that's why I don't feel well. And the consensus from the medical staff is that what's happening to me has nothing to do with my weight, because everything else is fine. My cholesterol is perfect, my organs are perfect, all of my levels came back just fine. Thankfully, my heart was not giving off any of the enzymes. The reason I had chest pain was because my blood pressure was so high that my heart was actually being overworked to compensate for it, which is just as dangerous. I am drinking Gatorade, full sugar regular Gatorade, at the recommendation of the emergency room doctor, because, again, another thing why they don't think what's going on has anything to do with my weight is that my sodium is actually fairly low. I'm not dehydrated because I had been drinking Gatorade and water, but yeah, let me get back to my main point here. The reason they don't think that this has anything to do with my body weight is because of the fact that all of my other numbers are where they should be. There's two schools of thought. One is this is hereditary. Everybody in my family, with the exception of my father and his mother, had heart problems, had or has heart problems. Last time I had an ultrasound done of my heart, maybe a year ago, I was told, oh, you have the heart of a 20-year-old, which was a big compliment to me because although I'm not telling you how old I am, I'm not that young. And so I was always told that I had a strong heart because they would look at it every once in a while, just because hereditarily speaking, I am lined up to have heart problems. So hereditary is one thought, and another thought, which is the one that kind of bothers me the most, is that this could be an after effect of COVID. A lot of studies and research are now coming to the surface showing that people who have had COVID are now experiencing several different types of organ damage. Changes to metabolism, changes to just all kinds of things going on. And yes, I'm going to see a cardiologist, but this could be more of a vascular situation if it's not my heart. So we'll see what happens. I'll be sure to keep you updated. And I'm sorry this video was not as random and funny or at all makeup related, but I don't know. I'm a pretty transparent person. I feel like I'm an open book for the most part. Some things I will keep private, some things I will not identify, but if you've been watching me and kind of wondering why I'm looking a little bit off or why my voice sounds the way it does right now, it's because I'm not well. I'm sick. So I asked for good, positive energies in my last video or earlier video, and I will continue to ask for some positive vibes if you can spare. And if you've made it this far, I appreciate you. If you haven't made it this far, you don't know what I'm saying, but even if you viewed 5 seconds of my video, I appreciate you. And I don't think there's really much else to say right now because it's just I'm in limbo. I will be calling the cardiologist office first thing in the morning and take it from there. I'll give updates as I can, and hopefully my next video will be a little more fun. Thanks for watching, take care of yourselves, and have a great day. Bye!